The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the legend that defies time. In the annals of ancient history, few wonders have captured the imagination of humanity quite like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. A marvel of engineering and beauty, their story is one wrapped in mystery, romance, ambition, and perhaps, legend. But behind every wonder, there lies a human tale. This is the story of a king, a queen, and the gardens that became a symbol of love. In the 6th century BC, the city of Babylon was the beating heart of the most powerful empire in Mesopotamia. Towering over the flat plains of modern-day Iraq, Babylon was a city of unimaginable wealth and influence. Its colossal double walls stretched for miles, thick enough to allow chariots to race side by side atop them. The Great Ishtar Gate, covered in bright blue glazed bricks and adorned with golden lions, dragons, and bulls, stood as the proud entrance to the city. The bustling streets were filled with merchants trading spices, textiles, and rare jewels from distant lands. And at the center of this grand city stood the majestic ziggurat of Marduk, a towering temple believed by some to be the inspiration for the biblical Tower of Babel. At the helm of this empire ruled King Nebuchadnezzar II, a man both feared and admired. Though Nebuchadnezzar was a conqueror, a master builder, and a devout follower of the Babylonian gods, he was also a man deeply in love. In one of his many political alliances, Nebuchadnezzar married Amytis, the princess of Media, a neighboring kingdom in the highlands of Persia. While the marriage was arranged to secure peace between the two kingdoms, fate had something else in store. As Amytis arrived in Babylon, she was overwhelmed by the difference between her homeland and her new home. She was used to green mountains, cool breezes, pine forests, and fresh rivers. But Babylon was hot, dry, and flat, with endless deserts stretching beyond the horizon. Though Babylon glittered with gold and was filled with riches, Amytis longed for the simple beauty of her homeland. She gazed into the distance from her palace balcony, missing the lush gardens, the songs of mountain birds, and the scent of blooming flowers. Nebuchadnezzar noticed her sorrow. Every day he watched his queen try to hide her sadness. The mighty king who had conquered nations could not conquer the loneliness in his wife's heart. One evening, as the crimson sun dipped below the horizon, Nebuchadnezzar approached Amytis. He gently took her hand and whispered, "My beloved queen, your happiness means more to me than all the treasures of my kingdom. If you miss your homeland, then I shall bring it to you. I will recreate your mountains, your trees, your rivers, here, in Babylon." Amytis smiled faintly, thinking it was a sweet gesture. But Nebuchadnezzar was not a man of idle promises. That very night, he summoned his finest architects, engineers, mathematicians, and horticulturists. He gave them an impossible task. Build me a mountain that touches the sky. Fill it with trees, flowers, and flowing waters. Let it stand as a testament to the love of a king for his queen. The challenge was monumental. Babylon lay on dry, flat land. How could a mountain be raised? How could water be lifted hundreds of feet into the air to nourish the plants? But the king's will was law. The builders began by constructing a massive foundation of stone. Layer upon layer of stone terraces were raised, creating a series of platforms that looked like steps to the heavens. The terraces were reinforced with baked bricks and bitumen, a sticky natural tar, to hold them together. Each level was carefully sealed with thick layers of lead to prevent water from leaking into the lower structures, an early form of waterproofing. Next came the greatest challenge: water. The Euphrates River flowed nearby, but it could not climb the heights of the terraces. The engineers designed a brilliant system of chain pumps, a continuous loop of buckets attached to ropes, turned by hand or animal power. The bucket scooped water from the river and lifted it to the highest terraces, where it would flow downward, nourishing the layers below in a cascading waterfall effect. The terraces were filled with deep soil beds, wide enough to support the roots of full-grown trees. Workers imported trees and plants from distant regions: cypress, date palms, myrtles, pomegranates, figs, and flowers of vibrant colors. Soon, towering trees swayed in the wind, vines crept along the columns, and blooming flowers filled the air with sweet fragrances. Fountains gurgled, birds sang, and the sound of running water echoed through the gardens. When the project was complete, people from all over the empire came to witness this miracle. The gardens appeared to float in the air, suspended above the ground, giving rise to their name, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Amytis walked among the terraces, her heart filled with joy. As she strolled through the cool, shaded pathways, she could hear the trickle of water and the chirping of exotic birds. The trees whispered to her like the forests of her childhood. In those moments, Babylon was no longer a distant land, it was home. The people of Babylon saw the gardens not only as a symbol of love but also as a symbol of their king's power and ingenuity. Travelers from distant lands carried tales of the gardens to Egypt, Greece, and beyond. Even the great Greek historian Herodotus would later write of Babylon's wonders, though he never mentioned the gardens himself. Others, like Strabo and Philo of Byzantium, described the gardens as one of the 7 wonders of the world. But strangely, no Babylonian records of the gardens have ever been found. Ancient texts speak of Nebuchadnezzar's other grand constructions, his temples, palaces, and city walls, but not the Hanging Gardens. This absence has puzzled historians for centuries. Some scholars believe that the gardens were a poetic exaggeration, or perhaps confused with other grand gardens in the region. Others suggest they may have existed not in Babylon, but in Nineveh, built by the Assyrian king Sennacherib, who ruled a century earlier. Sennacherib also boasted of lush gardens, advanced aqueducts, and complex irrigation systems in his capital, an engineering marvel rivaling Babylon itself. Could it be that ancient travelers confused the two cities? Or did the Hanging Gardens truly rise in Babylon, only to be lost to time, war, and nature? Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell. In 539 BC, the mighty Persian king Cyrus the Great conquered Babylon. The city fell into decline. The once mighty walls crumbled, the temples emptied, and the gardens, if they ever existed, were left to decay. Over thousands of years, the Euphrates changed course, burying much of ancient Babylon under layers of silt and sand. Modern archaeologists have unearthed parts of Babylon's walls, palaces, and gates, but they have found no undeniable trace of the Hanging Gardens. The mystery remains: were they ever real, or are they the greatest legend the ancient world ever told? Whether fact or fable, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon continue to captivate the human imagination. Modern engineers still marvel at the complexity such a structure would require. In today's world, we build vertical gardens on skyscrapers, rooftop parks, and urban green spaces inspired by the ancient vision of Nebuchadnezzar's masterpiece. And behind every lush garden and rooftop oasis lies the echo of an ancient king's promise to his queen. If you miss your homeland, then I shall bring it to you. Though we may never know whether the Hanging Gardens truly stood in Babylon or remain only in our dreams, one thing is certain. The story of the Hanging Gardens is not just one of bricks and water. It is a timeless tale of love, ambition, and the eternal human desire to create beauty in even the harshest places. As long as we tell the story, the gardens will never truly fade.